Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. Kind of a quick start here. JTB, and co-hosting with me, I have Firewood King. How are you doing today, Firewood King? I think we're working on some audio issues, but going into the match, on our left we have DarkReplica, rocking looks like the Samus, Zero Suit Samus skin. And on our right, we have Smight using the ball and chain guard, which is a pretty cool sprite, actually. A pretty new one, too.
Hey there, sorry to butt in. I think I fixed my audio issues. Hello, everybody.
Okay. That's good. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. This is my first time commentating, so a couple of hiccups, but I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's such like an honor to be able to commentate these matches. But we have a really good one. Like, Smight is actually someone that I raced with in the last tournament, so kind of excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I saw on the biodoc that Smite's been going for almost a year now. DarkReplica is a newer runner, started in about December.
Yeah, especially with the size of this kind of tournament, 512 entrants, we're going to have a lot of kind of new faces to Randomizer in general. So it's cool that we're able to expand our community by putting on these kind of events. So yeah, speaking about the match itself, so for those of you who don't know, this is our new standard randomized weapons mode. You might have already noticed that Uncle had given a hammer instead of a sword to our racers. The purpose of this mode is that Uncle will give you one of 7 different weapons at the start, as opposed to just giving you a sword all the time. So you can see it's going to change up just how you approach the escape sequence a little bit. Not too much, given it's a hammer and does a lot of damage, but you can get things like the Cane of Burna or bombs. Definitely shake things up a bit.
DarkReplica having a little bit of trouble with the hitbox on that hammer. The hammer is a little difficult to use if you're not used to it, especially if you're hitting up. The hitbox is kind of tiny.
Yeah, hopefully the ball and chain guard, Smight fighting his twin brother, doesn't give him too much trouble. Smight gets the kill pretty fast, but yeah, like you said, the hitbox of it can be a little bit tricky compared to just like a sword.
DarkReplica opting to go with the pots. That's A-okay. That's a nice, quick, and simple kill.
So surprisingly, not a lot or any progression, to be honest, except for the hammer. I've noticed a lot with the standard mode that they love to give you a ton of items right off the bat to kind of make the world open up a lot. But we're not seeing any of that at this time, so maybe we'll see some stuff in the escape sequence. We did see Smight get a bomb for the back escape, so he's not going to have to worry about coming back to that later. We'll see if DarkReplica does farm any of the enemies in the sewer, though, because that's usually the best place to find a bomb. And responding to chat, yes. So you always get one of 7 weapons from Uncle to assure that you can complete the escape sequence. Those weapons are the bow, the sword, which is your standard, fighter sword, fire rod, cane of Samaria, cane of Burna, hammer, and bombs. Bombs and cane of Burna being the kind of the most difficult ones to do. So it's kind of nice that our runners didn't have to go through that for this seed. And look, there it is. Cane of Burna showing up in the basement too. So like I said, Escape likes to give you a lot of stuff kind of right off the bat. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the back of Escape. If they decide to give you a sword, gloves, more stuff for like Dark World progression.
While we're on the topic of back of escape, DarkReplica is still without a bomb, so might not be able to actually get there.
Oh, there he is. He gets the drop off the. I think it was the rat there.
Well, I guess commentator's blessing.
I'm sure he's very thankful for that. I don't like coming back to escape if I can help it. But I find the sewers a little bit better for farming bombs just because there's a higher density of enemies in one spot. So he may have just been waiting until the end just to save a little bit of time. And it paid off for him. Fortunately, not really much to get from the back of escape. They do have a good amount of rupees, so there's a good chance they could go straight to like Lost Woods and hope to find the additional 50 rupees for the bottle vendor. But we'll see shortly. Ice Rod, definitely a really nice pickup. Ice Rod tends to be one of those items that you're forced to find in order to go into go mode very late in the seed. So finding that really early on, probably easing a little bit of the stress for both our runners. So Smight electing to skip checking Lumberjack Cave, whereas DarkReplica is going up there. They both get the bush crab as well as the tree pole. If there is something on Lumberjack Cave that suggests that Aghanim is required, then DarkReplica's gonna know right now.
It looks like we have a regular crystal at Eastern and 2 pendants, one at Hera, one at Desert. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I was seeing.
I actually no, you're right. Desert and Hera are pendants. And we had a sword on Lumberjack Cave, actually.
Ooh, that's really rough. Having to weigh whether or not to do Aghanim for a sword. Most runners, if they're comfortable, won't do that unless it's like the only option.
Right. DarkReplica going to pick up the bombs there. Didn't have that nice 8 drop that Smight got.
Uh-oh. Cape.
Oh, yeah. So we're seeing a cape from Smight. All we need at this point for Aghanim to actually be in the logic is Lantern and 1 sword. That could be a little bit rough if it's like, Fire Sword's the only sword that's kind of available, and then Master Sword is what's needed from Aghanim. So both runners going into your standard, checks for the start of Randomizer. Usually go, if you have a good amount of bombs and rupees, just go straight from Sanctuary to Lost Woods into Kakariko and then over to South Shore afterwards. There's so many items in these locations early on that it's a good chance that you're going to find that progression that's needed to get through the rest of the seed.
Other than that cape, we're not really seeing much that might point us somewhere yet, though.
Right. As far as Dark World access, we got the hammer at the start, which is really nice. But we'll be needing, both a Power Glove as well as a Moon Pearl at the very least in order to, get to the Dark World. But if we don't find anything, Aghanim may be required simply just to get into the Dark World rather than just to pick up that sword.
Well, at least we've got money. We still don't have access to Zora by the logic because we don't have flippers or gloves, but our runners may consider a fake flipper if they've got all that money sitting in their wallets.
Right. Even more so if they end up finding the pearl too. That way you can check the waterfall cave at the same time. But definitely with this amount of money, I would be thinking Zora too.
Smight finds the lamp. That's another part of our Aghanim puzzle.
Yeah, when I see an early cape and lantern, I'm 100% thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be Aghanim. It'll be very interesting to see, though, if maybe fake flippers allows them to find something that they would have had to get after Aghanim, though, making Aghanim completely useless if they do that little bit of a sequence break. So we'll see pretty soon, I think, once we go to South Shore and possibly Sahashala / Eastern, if they'd end up making that play or not.
DarkReplica opting to spend some of that wallet on bombs. Good call.
Yeah, bombs are very invaluable early on, especially using them for like Moldorm Cave, needing them for Ice Rod Cave. You definitely want to have like 10 bombs or so.
Yeah, the game logic will assume, yes, that you have 10 bombs at all times.
So it's kind of interesting seeing 2 pendants in Light World, which means, I wonder what's going to be that last pendant in the Dark World. It definitely, I think, makes routing a little bit easier because Light World pendants dungeons are much simpler and faster to complete, as opposed to getting like pendant Ice Palace, pendant Mire, pendant Swamp Palace. So they won't feel as pressured, I believe, going to some of those dungeons if they are crystal. Or they will feel pressure, but if it was pendant, they would be trying to make a gamble on whether or not it's worth going into those to look for progression. Alright, we're gonna get our check into Moldorm Cave, which is our next kind of big hub of items. 5 chests in the back there.
Smight having some bad luck with bombs, now he's going for hammer strats. We picked up that blue mail, so we don't have to be too afraid of taking body hits from the Moldorms.
Yeah, definitely a very nice pickup very early on. The Moldorms doing a full heart damage. And the crabs, if they decide to go to Ice Rock Cave, having 2 hearts.
We find the mirror and the gloves in Moldorm Cave.
So I'm thinking Dead Mountain now.
Yep, with the gloves and the lamp and the mirror, we can get all the way up to Hera, and with the lamp and the hammer, we can full clear it completely.
So Aghanim may not be required now with all that, additional locations being opened up. Smight going over to Ice Rod Cave. Definitely a place you do not want to ever skip, because just with the logic in V29, overworld locations have become a lot more valuable due to some changes. So Ice Rod Cave, always a good place to just knock out early in case, maybe it has like boots or flute, something to help that overworld travel a lot faster. But this time, just a piece of art. We are seeing the Death Mountain play, it looks like, from Smight. Maybe he'll go up there and check Lumberjack Cave. I believe someone in chat say he usually doesn't go up there unless he has boots, but given that he's going to be in the same area, he may just decide to just give it a check real quick. People generally play a little bit different in tournament races, a little bit more safe to avoid getting caught off guard. And yeah, it looks like he's going to find out that there is that sword on Lumberjack Cave and decide whether or not he wants to do Aghanim later on.
DarkReplica also heading to Ice Rod Cave. A lot of runners like to put it off until they have something to go fast, like the flute or the boots, but we're seeing both runners check at this race.
Yeah, I feel like Ice Rod Cave is one of those locations where you put it off a lot of times until you get that one race where there's that one required item there, and then you never put it off again. You always go there immediately, because it could really burn you just that very corner of the map that takes forever to get to. If it ends up having that progression. So I'm glad that both the runners decided to go there, even if it was just a piece of art.
Yeah, another one of those common locations that often gets skipped is Agina's Cave in the desert, and you will see so many runners not even check it the entire race. And you're exactly right. It's that one race where it has something. I had a race yesterday where it was the hook shot, so I ended up going up there before I went to Death Mountain, so that was a useful check. But you see very frequently people will leave Agina's Cave forever.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people. I haven't been burned yet by Agina's Cave. So, until I get that seed where it is hook shot or something much necessary, I'll probably won't change that. But okay, we're looking at our first check into Death Mountain. Old Man didn't have anything of value. Spectacle Rock doesn't have anything, and we just have a whole bunch of big 20s. Smight is gonna skip all of them, unfortunately.
Smight is not giving us a Dark World map check, it seems. A lot of people will leave that until they're in the main part of the Dark World, once they get their full Dark World access.
Alright, and now we're entering into Pendant Tower of Hera. Always a good call, especially with the logic kind of suggesting that, you need to go up to Hera, giving you the fire, that fire access as well. Plus, it's a really short dungeon, so you're not really spending a lot of time having to clear it out for the 2 items that it does have.
That Metroid Bunny sprite is adorable.
It's a pretty good one. I really enjoy the sprite work that our content creators have come up for her randomizer. Rather than just having to play as Link every game, you really just kind of personalize how you want your run to look. So it's really cool to see that.
It looks like our first item from Tower of Hera is just a red rupee.
Yeah, it looks like Smight is deciding to do just the fall down from the floor above instead of doing that bomb jump. Definitely kind of a better play in my opinion. If you end up missing that the bomb jump, you fall all the way back down to the very first floor. So pretty big time loss for kind of a risky play in my opinion. I'm glad that he decided to just be a little bit more safe and decided to jump down instead.
So we're going to see Hammer Moldorm here. Moldorm will take 3 hits with the hammer. Let's see how Smight does. There's one.
Hammer Moldorm's nice.
Very well done. No
Very
Troll
clean
Dorm
cut.
for Smight today.
Definitely Hammer Moldorm is one of those fights that you want to learn, just given that it's so fast of a kill, and most times when you come up to Hera, you're not going to have Master Sword or Temper Sword with the same amount of damage. So it kind of showed us how it's done. So if you want to learn how to do Hammer Moldorm, just watch that fight.
So Moldorm dropped the small key, which means our second item from Tower of Hera is in the basement. It looks like Smite's going to go in for that. Early in the game, that's the right call to make.
Right, it is a bit of a time investment because you have to wait for this tower room that he's entering right now. But it is an item that is required, that is available due to the logic. So you'll never know, if it's going to be something there like boots or flute or just anything for progression, or if it's just going to be a junk item like a arrow upgrade.
DarkReplica hit that crystal switch on the way up, so those hearts would be available. That's a good call, going into this fight with full health.
Yeah, especially if he gets knocked down too. You don't want to have to go into this fight with less than full health if you have those hearts available to you. Oh! Nice.
And
Another clean kill.
Yeah, DarkReplica seems to get over some of those troubles with the hammer and has a nice kill on Moldorm. And indeed, it is a trash hour upgrade.
Speaking of junk. So the nice part about going up to Hera too is that because they have the hammer, they could just go right over to East Death Mountain, which does have a lot of items there too. Possibly a hookshot as well, which I generally find a lot of in Death Mountain. I want to see if Smight ends up going to. It looks like we're doing Resident Sleeper Cave. So this cave. Go ahead.
We got a quick check of the floating island. That was also a junk item, an arrow upgrade. Go ahead.
A lot of junk on Death Mountain, it seems. But Smight entering Spiral Cave, or Resident Sleeper Cave, as people like to call it, without the boots, because you have to run all the way through very slowly for just one item itself. But is it worth it?
Not worth it.
Like a big old scam.
We see DarkReplica taking these coffee break strats. If you manage to trigger the switch while you're standing on those raising pegs, you'll get some invincibility frames. You can take a break, stretch your fingers, grab a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's when I like to do my quick bathroom breaks. Another good reason to route in, Hera basement, just in case.
Smight is in the Paradox Cave on Death Mountain, so named because you enter through the lower door, fall down, and end up at the upper level. And gets the flippers.
I always wondered why it was called that, so thanks for explaining that. So flippers meaning that we could see definitely that Zora check, especially with all the money that's available. What items are here are definitely going to kind of influence.
We have a bottle, we have mitts, lots of value here already. And the Moon Pearl.
I was about to say, we're just looking for that Moon Pearl. So maybe not a Zora check now, but we do have full Dark World access, both with the mitts and the hammer.
Yeah, that cave just blew the world right open.
I didn't realize we were already at Hype Cave, to be honest.
Smite's following that logic, heading straight into the Dark World here, south of Link's house.
Yeah, a really good place to start if you have both the mitts and the hammer. So that way you can just work your way up. And I think we saw Pendant Pod. Much nicer pendant choice, in my opinion, than like Thieves Town or any of those other dungeons I was speaking about earlier too.
DarkReplica's gotta be... Oh no! DarkReplica takes a death on the east side of Death Mountain.
And he's gonna have to come all the way back to get all the items in Paradox Cave.
Well, at least we have this save point at the Old Man.
True. Hype Cave looking to just be a whole bunch of rupees plus the fire rod, which could be used for Skull Woods later on, but we still need a sword in order to get access to Mothula.
Yes, I know I've been bitten in the past by forgetting about that requirement, but there's a curtain or vines or whatever on the way to Mothula. You need a sword to cut it, so still waiting on that.
I know you would think, given just kind of how the world works, you could just, burn him down with a fire rod. But unfortunately, in the world of Zelda, vines can only be broken by a sword. Lots of big 20s for Smight. I don't know if this is just irony or truly randomizer.
Smight sees 100 rupees in that cave below the grove. Already has 1,000, doesn't need more.
Right, with how much money he has, might as well just... I would say, just give up on trying to kill Ganon. Let's open up the Bank of Hyrule and start making investments on that. the game, just giving us a piece of heart. Smight elected to skip that. Having a little bit of low HP though, but with the blue mail, maybe he just feels comfortable enough to do, these upcoming dungeons with what he has currently. I believe Smight had found Moon Pearl at, I saw someone post the time, 2:28, or 22:28. So we have about a 3.5-minute difference between our two runners, assuming they do the same exact routing coming up.
Smight is doing the slow pegs. Without the boots, can't do the dash. Interestingly enough, you also need a sword to do the item dash with the boots. In this version of the game, if you have a sword, you can push the dash button and the item button at the same time, and you'll sort of do an item dash where you use the item all along your dash. It's extremely useful there with the pegs because you can just hammer all the pegs in a row, but without boots or a sword, Smight can't do that and has to do the slow pegs.
Yeah, I know I've tried to do it without a sword and you just get sent flying back. Funny enough, even if you don't have a sword and you try to do that, the animation of you falling or getting bonked still has you with a sword, despite not actually having one. So kind of a funny little observation.
I did not know that. I'll keep an eye on it.
DarkReplica actually going to Dark Death Mountain, having the mitts and the pearl, something that Smight did not do.
Yeah, this could give DarkReplica an interesting advantage, maybe make up some of that time.
Fortunately, he doesn't have a lot of items he can pick up. He doesn't have the hook shot, so he cannot get anything in Hookshot Cave. No boots for the first chest in Hookshot Cave either, but he gets to see what Turtle Rock medallion is, and these two chests right here in the Super Bunny Cave.
Oh, that could make a huge difference.
So DarkReplica finding the hook shot, literally the best place he can find it, right before Hookshot Cave. So this could be big. This could be really big.
We're gonna grab the intel on Turtle Rock first, see what the medallion is. It is Ether.
So I'm sure that'll come up. At this point, you're not really trying to find medallions. They usually just pop up while you're full clearing dungeons, but ooh, still that hook shot, that's really big. So even if DarkReplica does not find anything else here, just having the hookshot itself, yeah, just a bunch of rupees in that heart piece. Just having the hookshot itself is big enough. Oh, I think they make a Spike Cave play too.
Spike Cave is in logic. All you need is the cane. It used to be the case that you'd need a magic expansion, like half magic or a bottle for a potion, but in recent versions of the logic, all that you need for Spike Cave is access to that part of the mountain and a hammer, a glove, and the cane.
I'm really liking these gambles from DarkReplica. Sometimes, like, I don't know the skill level of the two runners compared against each other, but maybe if one runner feels a little bit lesser skilled, they'll end up taking these gambles to try and push them ahead. And definitely that is paying off right now for DarkReplica, and it could pay off even more if we have something in Spike Cave. This is not a place that you generally go to early on. So if there's, like, maybe a sword here, bow even, this could be really big.
Oh my! There's the ether for Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock, I'm seeing in chat, Turtle Rock access. Turtle Rock won't be available until we have a sword to use the medallion and the red cane to get in there.
I think I got super hyped earlier on, but I forgot that I was muted, so you guys got to miss, how excited I got about this seed. But DarkReplica opting to follow the Flipper's logic first, especially with the rupees that he has to go up to Zora, Smight doing your standard Thieves Town play. Given that it is accessible immediately, it's usually a route that people will take pretty commonly. Looks like it's paid off for him getting the book as well as his first sword too earlier on. So we could obviously this dungeon is required being a crystal dungeon, but whether or not you go into it early, that's entirely your call. Yeah, nice silvers too. Got just a single heart piece on the Zora's Ledge. We'll see if DarkReplica goes for it. I don't think he will with Blue Mail and just how many hearts he has. And it's a little bit of a trek over there too. But we'll see how he feels about it.
We find another medallion in Bombos. The only way that could be required is if Bombos is the medallion for Meyer. Sometimes you need to use Bombos as a fire source to get into Ice Palace, but we already know where the fire rod is, so that's the only way that Bombos could be required.
Smight going for King of Burna strats on Smight, or on Blind. One of my favorite strats to do, just because it's makes the fight immensely easier, especially if you're at low HP and you maybe took a lot of damage throughout the dungeon itself. So pretty clean kill for him. So Smight kind of showing us your standard Dark World routing, like I said, starting from the south side of Dark World with Hype Cave, and just working yourself all the way up. The crystal dungeons really kind of help in this case because you can just knock out both Thieves Town and Skullwood super early on and not have to worry about whether or not you want to go on them. So definitely, if you're learning Rando, what Smight is doing right now is pretty safe, and definitely would recommend you want to kind of like follow his routing in this kind of situation.
Yep, we're finding another sword here in Skullwoods. That'll be DarkReplica's first and Smite's second. So unless our runners want tempered, Aghanim is now not required at all.
Right, and plus, despite just the huge difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword, it's taking 5 minutes to clear out Aghanim is 100% not worth it. Rather just do that Master Sword Ganon if it ends up coming to that. DarkReplica also does not have the Fire Rod, has not gone to Hype Cave just yet. So he's kind of banking on finding those 2 items in here and then probably coming back later on once he does find out where the Fire Rod is at. So these are one of the seeds that I actually really like seeing. you know, you get a lot of this access, you know, like the cape. You know, now they're thinking maybe, you know, Bumper Cave isn't in play, whereas you can see it's just a big 20 there. But I really like seeing just a lot of the world open up and just the routing choices that people make. A big part of Randomizer is maximizing your efficiency with checking locations, doing multiple locations at once. So going straight from Skull Woods into this whole like graveyard segment, really efficient usage of time that DarkReplica is doing right now.
Yes, this graveyard ledge is way out of the way. It's one of those places, again, that a lot of runners, they won't get to. It's very hard to route in once you're out of this part of the world. Smight with a nice fight on Mothula. I barely got to see it.
Yeah, you get that fire rod to knock his HP down, or her HP down really fast. And then, you know, as long as she doesn't give you too bad of a pattern, it's pretty easy to clean the fight up from there on out. So as far as our progress in the race now, it appears, you know, Smight, I believe, has a little bit of a lead despite not having the hook shot. I'm sure he'll make his way up to Dark Death Mountain at some point. But, you know, regardless of not having the hook shot, making great progress with his execution and just taking out these crystal dungeons immediately. But like I said, it's all going to be about, you know, is that Bombos going to be required for Meyer and how
It
long
looks like we're getting a pedestal check, and it is the mushroom. Ooh, that's...
mushroom.
Yeah, I guess I'm assuming that fungi is mushroom. I would think so. I don't know, correct?
I've never seen that message before, actually.
Yeah, actually, I'm putting my best knowledge to work here. Fungus, mushroom sounds right to me. That is a nasty pedestal item because you don't know what's on the other side of that mushroom. You have to take it to the witch to figure that out.
So at this point, we are in Schrodinger's pedestal. It is both required and not required until we are in go mode. And chat does bring up, I'm not sure how good that mushroom is at that point. You know, I would think it'd be decaying a little bit if it's been sitting on a pedestal for a very long time. I don't even think I would want to pick up that mushroom. So I'm interested in seeing, you know, what's going to happen after, you know, both runners are going to the places each one have, the other one has gone to. Smight is in a position to do something a little bit new. He'll probably end up doing the whole graveyard check, just like DarkReplica did. But after that, I want to see kind of what routing or what dungeon they're going to go to next. You know, Pod could be somewhere that Smight ends up going to. We don't know if it's bow locked yet. We don't know where the bow is, actually. But if it isn't bow locked, there are a lot of items there that he could, you know, see value in.
Well, the second item in Skullwoods is the flute, so that also opens up the Meyer area. We can get there now.
Right. Well, let's see if it's that Bombos or not pretty soon. I think, though, with the flute showing up now, we could see a play over to Desert Palace, especially also with the book showing up in the same sphere as, I believe, the flute, if I'm reading the logic correctly. So we can't hear it, but we know that the swag duck theme is going on right now. Hopefully DarkReplica gets his flute pretty soon so we can hear that on stream. Alright, Smight going up to the graveyard checks. Definitely a good play to make. with the mirror as well as the cape. You never want to like put off locations that have been opened up by specific items for fear of just leaving something behind. And plus, if you're already right there, it's well worth the time invested just to knock out those 3 items real fast. Also, I don't think we saw the stun prize. Ooh, just a big 20. Not really necessary at that point, given how much money both runners have got. But maybe later on, if they decide to stock up on a lot of potions and, you know, picking that Zora, then it could be a good way to farm a little bit of rupees later on.
Looks like Smight is heading to the catfish area. That's a check we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I like this. He's taking that this overworld tour a little bit more than I expected. You know, going straight from the graveyard over to catfish, and then once he's done with the catfish, he can just mirror right into Zora. So that means he will be finding silvers here. I believe Bombos was around here too, if I recall.
I think so. Yes.
But it still begs the question, though, when he goes up to Turtle Walk to find that hook shot, most likely won't do so until he gets the Kena Burna, or sorry, Samaria, so that way he can do Turtle Walk. But we'll see. We're still pretty early on in this race, only 43 minutes in. This is kind of the point in a lot of people's races where you're starting to weigh the benefits of going to one location versus the other, as opposed to just going in a straight line through a bunch of dungeons. DarkReplica making pretty quick work of blind there with that Master Sword. Opting not to do the Kena Burna strats, but hey, you got the HP, it's a lot faster. Just kill him with the sword.
Smight going to pay his 500 rupees for Bombos.
Yeah, unfortunately, no scam today. So it looks like DarkReplica is now going to do his overworld check for the Dark World. So he'll be making his way over to Hype Cave pretty shortly. He'll get the Fire Rod. Maybe we'll see him go all the way back up the Skull Woods, pick up that flute that we see Smight using right now to go over to Myers. So we get to see right now, you know, what is going to be this required medallion. Is it going to be Ether? It's going to be Bombos, and it's going to be...
It is the one we haven't seen yet.
Didn't expect that, to be honest. But it's okay. Quake will show up right here. Or not. I found a lot of times that the medallion for Meyer just ends up always being right next to Meyer itself. Making access pretty easy. But
yeah,
Smight doesn't have boots or hookshot to actually do anything to Meyer.
That's true. That's another little advantage that DarkReplica has, getting that hookshot from Dark Death Mountain.
Smight making the play into Desert Palace. So like I said earlier, just doing the or the Pendant Light World dungeons, always a good call, just because they're so short. You get to see we may have a boots locked.
Right, with
Palace, depending on this item. Yep. So what that means with the key being on the torch, you're not able to get it off without punking it with the boots. So that key and the other item being just a piece of heart means that that key leads to the big key, which in turn leads to being able to complete the dungeon. So not able to complete it right now. I expect we'll find boots pretty soon. Oh,
Well, that's something.
that's a good pickup. That's Turtle Rock. If he wanted to go up there right now.
Well, it doesn't look like Smight has that Ether Medallion yet. That was in Spike Cave, if I recall correctly. So,
right. He may be thinking it though with you know, he doesn't know what is required for Turtle Rock since he did not go into the Dark World Death Mountain. But when I see the Fire Rod, Ice Rod, and King of Samaria together, it's a play that's on my mind. DarkReplica picking up his Fire Rod too, so both runners are pretty similar in items. Smight having a slight advantage with having the flute and King of Samaria already, but DarkReplica does still have that hook shot, not having to really go out of his way to try to find it. That Smight may have to do right now. We're seeing the flute, so he may go up the Death Mountain right now. Oh, he's gonna go into Pod and Eastern. Oh, and DarkReplica making the play into Swamp Palace. I love this.
yes, if Swamp has something, DarkReplica could be pushing that hookshot advantage.
I like this because, you know, you want to find like a good balance between overworld checking as well as clearing out dungeons. Generally, if you have the required items to clear out a dungeon, you just go there immediately and just try to knock it out right away. Because, you know, there may be progression still in that dungeon, which DarkReplica is, you know, kind of banking on here. You know, we still need the boots, we still need Quake. And we still need a bow as well. So there could be something, you know, really valuable in here. And Swamp Palace is generally a dungeon you don't like to go into. You know, with the left side in there without the hookshot too, I don't think Smight will go in here for quite a long time. Got the red ring showing up in Shahashalaj, but
First check of the Eastern area, 49 minutes in.
yeah, this is a location that's right off the bat available. But if you find those early progression items, it's generally the one that you're gonna put off to the side until much later. Especially if you have the mirror and you can do both Pod and Eastern at the same time. We're gonna find out right now though if it's a bow lock Pod. If it's not, then Smight will definitely take some time to keep going in. Oh, it's a net.
So we are bow locked, and Smight is heading right out of there.
And going right into Eastern Palace. So kind of a benefit there, with it being bow locked, not having to commit any time at all to Pendant Pod, which could be a nice thing if there's not anything in Pod itself. But, you know, maybe if they do find the bow elsewhere, maybe something they have to go into, especially for that Quake. Oh, finding that big key in Eastern in the first chest, that's a huge relief because you could get all three items in Eastern without having to go, you know, to the vanilla big key chest. Meanwhile, on our left, DarkReplica going through Swamp Palace. Looks like he's going to be doing that left side check. Good call. I know a lot of runners like to skip it, but you know, if you do have a lot of items available before go mode, it's probably not a good idea to do so. So Smight finding the map there means that he will go over to the vanilla big key location and have to see if there's an item there or if it ends up being an Armos, which would be bow locked. And yes, I believe Swamp would be more logic because Hookshot would be found a lot earlier as far if we're speaking in like spheres for how the logic algorithm works. Hookshot would be found before bow, meaning Swamp would be needed to get completed earlier.
DarkReplica on the way to these 2 left side swamp chests. Let's see what they've got. Just a green rupee. And a compass. So the left side is a bust, but it's still probably the right call to make this check, even if it doesn't pay off for you.
Yeah, and Smite also just finding that big 20 on the vanilla big key chest. So last item I believe is on Armos, but we don't have that bow, so we have no idea. So I just want to throw out a very interesting theory. Bow cannot be on pedestal. We know that, but Quake could possibly. Yeah, or no, Bow can't be at the which the mushroom would be on the pedestal, but Quake could possibly be.
Yes, Quake could be the mushroom item. The bow can't be locked behind the pedestal since Pod needs the bow to be beaten and Pod is a pendant. Smite stocked up on potions. When you see that at this point in the run, you have to expect the Ice Palace play, and that's exactly where Smite is.
Yeah, not having the hook shot could make it a little bit tricky, but I'm actually pretty confident in Smite's skill to do the bomb jumps in here, especially the harder like hook shot room bomb jump if it comes down to it. So I'm sure he'll be completely fine here without the hook shot. I like using the bombos here.
There is the
we have
Quake.
All right, so we are just looking for that bow. Pedestal Seed is dead. So right now, DarkReplica technically can go into Mire. I'm assuming he'll probably check Checkerboard Cave and pick up that red cane. But he has the hook shot to actually get past the first room, which Smight does not have. Smight nailing the double Stalfos bomb trick. Super easy to do, and it looks really cool as well when you nail it.
We're gonna see Argus fight here from DarkReplica.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tricky one because he only has the Master Sword. He could do a bit of menuing and switch between the hook shot and the hammer, but it looks like he's just going for those 2 slashes on each of the ads in order to kill him. Alright, gets it before the next cycle, so we'll see. Looks like he's gonna opt to do the Fire Rod strats. Nice thing about Fire Rod is if you hit him in quick succession, you can hit him multiple times against the wall as opposed to just letting him jump up each individual time. And with that, really clean kill by DarkReplica on Argus, and is rewarded with just a single shield.
So DarkReplica, if I recall his menu correctly, has all of the dungeon items, and he has the big key, which means that there, I believe, is the last item in the big chest in Swamp. And I'm guessing I'm right
So-
since DarkReplica's heading back in to look for that.
Where did the big key end up being? I did not see that.
The big key was in the basement. So I think it might have been in the waterfall room. I wasn't sure. But it was definitely, it was late enough that DarkReplica did not go back to check.
Well, the nice part about going back into Swamp is that you don't have to worry about, doing all the water puzzles too. So you can just run straight over to the big key chest, or the big chest, and check that real fast. Oh, Smight missing that bomb jump. That's a little bit of a tricky one, because if you miss it, then you just fall down to the bottom.
DarkReplica only finding a 10-arrow upgrade from the big chest, couple of rage slashes. DarkReplica is still looking for the bow and the cane of Samaria.
And bow is the one thing that we just do not know where it's at now. Cane of Samaria, I believe he'll be picking up pretty shortly. We're gonna get a Bombos tablet check, which is something we haven't seen yet. Smite hasn't been in this area, but I imagine he would have probably checked it after Swamp. But let's see, what are we gonna have? No, I can't argue with that. I'll take a heart piece any day of the week. Or a heart container, I mean.
Well, here we're seeing that Agina cave check. At least it's not so bad when you're right here.
Yeah. Like you said, this is one of those locations that runners don't like to check unless they're in a convenient spot to do so. Oh, if you could imagine, Bo being in here. No, it's a heart piece. That's it. Smight about to enter his cold stare fight. He does not have half magic. I don't know if he has a second blue potion to use the fire rod against cold stare. I know he's gonna be using bombos obviously to open up to have a little bit of extra magic. But I'm interested to see how he does this fight. Does he opt to do hammer strats after the fire rod's depleted? Does he just go with the master sword? It's a pretty tricky fight because each eyeball does a ton of damage, and it's something you don't want to take a lot of risks on.
Yeah, Smite unfortunately misses that initial spin. If you time that spin right, you can knock them all into the... But, man, I'm talking too soon. Smite's making great work of these puffballs. Doesn't need to hit him in the corner.
Right, and this is where your skill as just, a Legend of Zelda runner in general really pays off. When it comes down to just straight execution, the things that you're going to see, in your no major glitches run. So definitely having that experience really benefits, runners, and for this specific race, Smite in general. So we got another fetch quest showing up with a shovel. He decides to go there.
Yeah, I don't think DarkReplica realizes just yet that this is a bow lock. DarkReplica's going to come in and look at the torch. Oh no, we'll see what DarkReplica's doing.
There now. Yeah, entering desert without boots, you generally want to be checking that immediately, just to get an idea of how much time you want to commit to this dungeon. Smite going straight over to the grove to check that shovel spot. I don't blame him. I mean, he still needs the hookshot, bow, quake, ether. He's missing quite a lot of items and boots too.
The boots might not be required if we can get the bow without them. The really insidious thing about the boots is that Ganon's Tower big key. It might be on the torch in Ganon's Tower.
Oh no. Smite is going over to Swamp Palace. Oh no, without hookshot. This is not a pleasant situation to be in. Oh wait, he's going over to Bombos.
Bombos. Yeah, Bombos. We might see Swamp after that, but
oh, I hope he doesn't go to Swamp just yet. It could be, tempting. There's a lot of items in Swamp Palace that could have the hook shot, which we know obviously isn't the case here, but
DarkReplica, taking the long walk to the Warp to Ice Palace, did not get the flute from Skull Woods yet. Has to go back there.
Yeah, he may be thinking, I could do Skull Woods whenever I want. I don't have to do it at this time. I could just wait until I have to go back up to Village of Outcasts. But that is ended up hurting him a little bit more because, it's the flute, and that cuts down on that overworld travel quite a lot. Smight is not going to Swamp Palace, but rather he's actually going to be doing Pyramid Fairy. I just realized that we do have our 5-6 crystals already.
Yeah, look at that. I did not see that either until you pointed it out.
Smight over here giving me a heart attack. It's like panicking about him going into hookshotless swamp. DarkReplica making his trek through Ice Palace currently. I think at this point, if Bo shows up in let's see, what locations do we have left? If Bo shows up in Mire, DarkReplica has an enormous lead because Smight is spending a lot of time, checking these overworld locations that, it may have the bow, but like I said, if Bo ends up being in Mire itself, then that's a huge lead for DarkReplica.
I don't think we've seen the pyramid ledge, have we, from either runner?
We have not. Generally, it's a check you do with the Pyramid Fairy, so
Okay.
we'll see right now.
So we'll see it now.
Something there.
A lot of runners will drop the bomb there and then do the check while the bomb is counting down. Just the 10 bombs. DarkReplica going for the Ice Palace bomb jump.
This is definitely a rough situation for Smight. We'll see where he goes right now, though. He needs to go up the Dark Death Mountain, and okay, good. He is going up there now.
This looks like the play.
So he will be finding both his Ether and his shot pretty shortly. Unfortunately, he has to take the long way all the way around Death Mountain because he only has the mirror and the hammer. But the two items there will be of great value to him. And Turtle Rock is also Ether too, so
Smight will have to go into Spike Cave to get that Ether.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll go into Spike Cave at this point. I would think so, given...
I think this is also a check we haven't seen, the Ether tablet.
Right. We didn't have the book last time. And in our heart piece. And Fluffykins in chat is right. There's it's really hard trying to route Spike Cave into, your overworld checks. There's never really a good time to go. It's just kind of, okay, I'll just end up going now and, figure out whatever's in there. Smight going to get the Turtle Rock portal doesn't know that he doesn't have the medallion for it just yet, but he could have it shortly if he does go over to Spike Cave. Obviously gonna go drop down into the Super Bunny Cave, pick up that hook shot, go straight into Hookshot Cave, and then honestly I think what he does after that is going to be a huge determining factor in who wins this race. So we are still looking for that bow. Locations we have not checked yet. Obviously all the boots locations, such as the Bonk Rocks next to Sanctuary. We have not gone into Mire yet. The Witch we we know doesn't have the bow because the mushroom is on pedestal. So really, I think it's just Meyer is the biggest thing. Both Eastern and Pod have items locked behind the bow.
Could also be
Yeah.
Turtle Rock, couldn't it?
It could also be Turtle Rock too.
The bow on laser bridge is that's a common thing that hits a lot of people.
Okay. Oh, good. Thank you, Smight. Smight going over to Spike Cave. Fortunately, we'll find that ether and probably just head right back over to Turtle Rock after saving quit.
Smight hops into the light world quickly, I think just to avoid those Lionels, and then gets back in the dark world for Spike Cave.
Yeah, without having either Temper Sword or boots, it's better just to mirror out there and take that portal back into the dark world, just to avoid taking a lot of extra damage that you're going to be using in this area. Alright, ether pickup for Smite, and yeah, he's making that Turtle Rock play. Good play to make with having all the required items for it, not having to gamble on Ice Rod being in there, or anything like that. So Laser Bridge, like you said, very good contender for having that bow. Laser Bridge likes to hide. Just a single item required to keep the seed somewhere on there.
DarkReplica getting low. Has a red potion, though.
Yeah, I love to go into Ice Palace with just a single potion because I don't want to be panicking about like 1 heart cold stare kills.
Yeah, and it's Cold Stare's so deep in there, it's a real pain to come back if you take a death.
So we have a pretty linear seed now for Smite. If Bo ends up being in Turtle Rock, he'll go into Swamp Palace next and find Quake during his clear in there, and then just go straight over to Meyer, and then Eastern, and be done with it too. So I don't think we'll see a lot more overworld checks, just depending on if the bow is in here or not. And right, Quake was in the back of Swamp, so if he does end up ignoring left side, then he will save a little bit of time there.
I think left side was actually a green rupee in the compass, so skipping left side would be the right call.
DarkReplica looks like also doing the Pyramid Fairy right now. We could see a little bit of checks with the Zora, because I don't think, or not the Zora, the Catfish, because I don't think he factored that in to his routing. And there it is!
Oh yeah, there it is.
I have to wonder at this point. Oh wait, no, he still is actually looking for Quake, so technically he's not in go mode.
We're in commentator's go mode. We know where everything is.
Commentator's go mode. Yeah.
Unless the Ganon's Tower big key is on the torch, and
no.
then we gotta look for the boots.
That's dirty. I have yet to actually see that in any kind of seed, and I would not wish that on anyone who plays this game. So technically, he's still looking for a Quake, which you'll find, obviously. DarkReplica needs to pretty much head over to Skull Woods, actually, with that fire rod. Get that flute and then start, clearing out his crystal dungeons, because at this point, I think it's just coming down to execution. Who's going to be able to clear these dungeons out faster and get up to Ganon Tower? And right, I would say Smight right now has a slight lead with finding that bow. DarkReplica is looking for both bow, flute, and Kena Samaria. Smight quickly going through Turok. This segment of Turok is pretty easy to get through. I'm assuming he'll probably check Mimic Cave, because like I said, he's still looking for the required Quake for Meyer. But right now it's gonna come down to really what is DarkReplica gonna do? Is he gonna head over to Skull Woods? And you know what? He's saving and quitting. I'm wondering, maybe he clicked off an item in Skull Woods by accident and doesn't know that there's another item there. Because I would think you would go straight from Breadsmith's over to Skull Woods right afterwards.
Yeah, DarkReplica still needs to get the crystal from Skull Woods, so we'll have to see if DarkReplica goes to Skull Woods but doesn't look for items. Because the flute was in the big chest, and you had to get the key. I forget where the big key was, but you had to go back for the big chest.
Correct. But yeah, that could definitely be a possibility. There's only 2 items in Skullwood, so like if you are using one of those item trackers, it's pretty easy to accidentally hit it twice instead of once. I'm hoping that's not the case. But
DarkReplica does not have a tracker on his stream, so I can't tell if he thinks he's got more items than he has.
You beat me to it. I was just about to check myself. Definitely having trackers are super nice for doing randomizer, because you don't want to be constantly having to think about what items are left, what locations you've gone to. Just having, a tracker on the side, gives you a lot of peace of mind. So I'm sure like 99% of rando runners use it, but if you don't, I would 100% recommend, checking out the various trackers we do have available.
DarkReplica is about to find nothing in Sahasrara and is probably going to head into Pod and head out real quick, realizing it's bow locked. Oh, sorry, instead of nothing, red boomerang. I forgot.
Funny enough, the inferior of the 2 boomerangs.
Yeah, it's practically the nothing boomerang, so...
Smight getting that laser skip, really nice. Getting the double. Are we gonna see the triple? Oh, we got the triple. Do we see the quadruple? Oh wait. Okay, yeah, I think there's an item still left there. Come on, Smight, don't let us down. Oh baby, we got boots!
There we go. So now we're not going to see any Ganon's Tower trolls. We're just waiting on our runners to pick up the items that they don't have. That is Quake for Smight, and the flute, which leads to the cane, which leads to the bow for DarkReplica.
Smight does give access to a little bit more locations now, specifically Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb, as well as Desert Palace. But I think he'll probably just take the time to check Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb real quick. He probably won't go into Desert Palace with Swamp Palace being available. So it's not too big of a time loss, finding those boots and having those extra locations open as well.
We're seeing a hammer Trinex fight here from Smight. Taking a little bit of hits. We'll see if he can pull it off.
Be a little bit tricky, just with the hammer range being a little bit smaller than the sword itself. But, you know, that temper damage is very valuable. Alright, Smight about to get his kill on Trinex. Oh, no!
I
think he has a fairy.
think has a fairy. I think he has a fairy. There it is.
Okay. God, it scared me for a little bit there. But, she has, like, yeah, one more hammer hit will seal the deal. Whew, that would have been awful if he didn't have that fairy, because he would have to go all the way back to the Mimic's Cave entrance and get through all of this all over again. Does have a bug net though, so if you really wanted to, definitely pick up an air fairy later on. Alright, what are we gonna be seeing next? Alright, there's the Bonk Rocks and the King's Tomb check that we're gonna see real fast. You know, we could still definitely find another sword, which would be of a great help for both of our runners. I don't think DarkReplica, though, will actually be checking these locations, because if he routes like I think he's going to, he's probably going to put off Turtle Rock until last.
Yeah, I imagine DarkReplica will be in go mode when he finds those boots.
Or finding that last item, realizing, you know, or not the last item, but the last item he currently has access to without the bow. Saving, quitting, Smight, fluting over to Kakariko. See, what do we have over here for Smight?
The purple chest?
Oh, right.
And this probably means that Smite's going to go right into Swamp after that.
Yeah, that's a pretty convenient way to just knock out two locations. Or a location plus a dungeon right away. Just a hard piece, unfortunately, from the purple chest. But yeah, like you said, we should be seeing that play into Swamp Palace right now, meaning we'll be in go mode. DarkReplica making his way back to Skullwoods. Thank goodness. He's gonna find that loot pretty fast. Excuse me, pretty fast. And then he can start making his way over to Meyer, get that red cane, and then we'll see both runners just pretty much trying to clear out dungeons as fast as they can. Dark Replica looking for that big key. Where exactly was the big key? It wasn't on Mothula, I believe, but it was it in that chest in the final area?
I don't recall.
It's been a while since we've been in here. But regardless, you know, we're gonna be checking all these locations. He has to kill Mothula no matter what.
Big key was here.
See. Yep, there it is. We'll see if he goes back to the big chest right now. It looks like he will not. He'll go over to Mothula first, which makes more sense. Ooh, that spike could be a little bit trolly. That Dark Replica just hit. Very easy if you have boots and you get hit by that spike, that the Wall Master will actually come down and grab you. Yeah, and for those saying in chat, we do believe Smight has a pretty good lead at this time. Not going to Skullwoods for Dark Replica really hurt him, whereas Smight did do that really early, finding the flute there and just cutting down on a lot of overworld travel. Dark Replica did have the hook shot extremely early. But I still think this will be a fairly close race. It's really going to come down to the steps that Dark Replica takes right after clearing Mothula. If he decides to go right over to Meyer to finish that off, and then straight over to Turtle Rock.
With that Quake Medallion, Smight is now in go mode.
Right, so he's just going to be skipping everything. He's going to go straight to the end. He may actually check a couple chests to see if he can find like a temper sword.
Yeah,
But,
that waterfall chest there that Smight just checked, that's an extremely common check, even for runners who are already in go mode.
So yeah, at this point, Smight, you know, we're not looking at routing anymore, with the exception of trying to find that Ganon Tower big key. We're just trying to kill everything as fast as we can, and you know, given Smite's kind of skill level, we're going to be seeing a lot of really fast clears here.
Smight is pulling off 2 puffballs at a time, getting through this first part of the Argus fight a little quicker than Dark Replica was able to.
Dark Replica getting a really clean Master Sword kill on Mothula there.
Smight trying to put the 1 silver arrow, gets it into Argus, takes him down in 1 hit. 2 good boss fights at the same time.
Yeah, it can be a little bit hard to hit that silver arrow just for how fast Argus is, as well as kind of having a weird hitbox as well. But Smite shows us how it's done. He'll be heading over to Meyer, I believe, next. Putting off Eastern until later. And then Dark Replica heading over to that big chest. So he'll find his flute, go activate it, and we'll see what he decides to do next.
So Smite's going to be hoping to see that Meyer big key in one of the first 2 chests. Does not want to be digging around in Meyer looking for that big key. Especially does not want to go to the awful cutscene room where you just got to wait for that wall to slide.
Yeah, go mode Meyer is something you 100% want to be able to do. Having to wait on that cutscene, it just takes forever for just 1 chest. Dark Replica does not have the red king because he does not have the flute, which he'll be getting right now. That will give him access to Checkerboard Cave. And then with that red cane, he'll have access to both Mire as well as Turtle Rock. I believe he'll go into Mire first, but he will have to go to Turtle Rock before he goes to Eastern Palace, unfortunately. So Smight is a full dungeon ahead. Actually, probably a little bit more than that, because Turtle Rock is a pretty lengthy dungeon in itself. So we have a pretty well-defined lead on Smite's end, that I can tell. Smight going to Witch's Hut. Probably pick up a couple extra
DarkReplica
potions.
going to Witch's Hut, yes.
Yeah. DarkReplica. That's what I meant to say.
There's the big key. So Smight does not have to do the cutscene room. Gonna head through this room to get to the boss door. You don't often see this room with the bomb slugs.
Right. Not even in No Major Glitches, too, because usually, go a different way through here. But pretty good location. Doesn't have to go through that cutscene. Smight gonna be checking the Mire Shed and hopefully Checkerboard Cave as well. And then he'll just be one item away from his go mode. Despite going through the dark rooms, well, obviously with a lamp, for Mire, one of the harder ones to do without a lamp itself, especially getting that Kina Samaria placement. So definitely an area that you don't want to have to do dark if you know that a lamp is required. DarkReplica heading into Checkerboard Cave, he's gonna pick up his Kina Samaria, and I expect we'll see that Mire entrance very shortly. One bad thing though is DarkReplica does not have his bow, so that means he'll probably end up doing a full clear of Mire. Also won't have silvers that Smight will have for Vitreous, so Smight will have a much faster clear than DarkReplica.
You're about to see a very enjoyable fight on Smite's side.
Yeah, show us how it's done.
Smight actually only has 10 arrows, so he's going with the cape strats to knock off some of these eyeballs. I didn't realize that Smight was so low on arrows.
Don't usually see that at this part of the race. I usually have like 50 or something arrows just out of picking up chests. He could use the remainder of his arrows though to clear this out, because it's only one silver arrow per eyeball, and Eastern has plenty of arrows too. Oh, and then he realizes, oh, I have silvers.
And 2 arrows into the big guy, and there we go. Half magic, that's a nice item. Never necessary. Well, sometimes the logic will consider it necessary. At this point in the game, nobody needs it, but you always feel a little nicer. Would have been nice to have that on the Trinex fight, given that we only had Master Sword.
Right, and one big benefit to having half magic too is if we don't find another sword, being able to use cape on Ganon is going to be a huge benefit, just given that you'll have to be doing those spins instead of slashes. So that's a really nice safety net for both of them. Smight heading over to Eastern Palace. It's going to be a really quick clearing here. He's already picked up all the chests, just needs to kill that Armos, and then we will be heading up to Ganon's Tower very shortly. DarkReplica making his way to the second part of Mire. Gonna hit the switch, probably go get the big key first. Yeah, he's gonna head back over to that chest. DarkReplica, gonna pick up this chest in the top room, probably head right back down over to the torches itself. We'll see that lengthy cutscene. Maybe we'll find another sword in here, not sure. Getting a little bit low though. I don't know if he has a fairy still. I believe he does, but since I haven't seen his inventory, I can't be for certain. Ooh, misses that torch pull, but gets over into it in time before one of the other torches goes out.
Smite's going to be picking up some more arrows under these pots, I imagine. There we go.
Yeah. One nice part about Eastern is that there are so many arrows available. Oh, there's our superior boomerang. The bloomerang shows up after a very convincing kill with those silver arrows on the armors. And with that, I believe we are going to be heading up to Ganon's tower, having all 7 crystal on Smite's end. All right, cool. So Rick did clarify in chat. So for those of you in chat, we have a little game we like to play when our first runner goes up to Ganon's tower. Don't know if the command's working or not, but there are 22 chests, right? It's 22, I believe.
22 locations, yes. The torch is not a chest, counts as a location.
So 22 locations that the Ganon's Ganon's tower big key can be on. Definitely go throw out your guesses in the chat itself. Shame on you if anyone picks 22, which is the tile room. But we'll see pretty shortly, where that big key ends up locating at.
We're having a little bit of trouble getting the big key guessing game bot to work, but there's nothing stopping you from guessing.
Yeah, I mean, if you end up winning, you're more than welcome to take like a screenshot of chat, put it on your refrigerator, show your mom too, that you won the big key guessing game on Speed Gaming 3 for the Spring Randomizer tournament for one out of 256 matches that we have each week. I'm sure she'll be very proud of you. DarkReplica about to head over to his Vitreous fight. See how he approaches this one, not having those silver arrows that Smight did.
We could see cape strats like we saw on Smite's side. Some runners even throw bombs at Vitreous. I don't know if we're going to see that with the Master Sword. But Smite's going to start opening Smite's going to start opening chests.
All right, we got 1, we got 2, we got a key already, which is pretty nice. Looks like he's going to head right over to the right side instead of going straight over to the left. All right, we're into Vitreous for DarkReplica. Looks like he's going to be using those cape strats or Cana Burna strat. Cape? What? Make up your mind, DarkReplica. He's using the cape strats. get those slashes in on the eyeballs. A pretty solid way to kill him. I believe he has a blue potion.
Oh,
And
there
we're on
it
number
is!
3. Wow.
Smite's already in this room, gonna open the rest of the chests, and is gonna head through this warp and pick up a small key. You want to head upstairs with at least one small key. There are 2 locked doors upstairs, but only 1 guaranteed key, so you'd like to have one heading upstairs.
Yeah, you don't want to gamble on one of those chests upstairs having that small key. So it's better to play it safe. Ooh,
Let's see if
Dark
DarkReplica... Yes,
Yes,
DarkReplica does.
Tell you what, these runners just making me a little nervous. But DarkReplica finishes off phase 1 of Vitreous, heads into the second phase. Doesn't have the bow, so he's gonna opt to do hammer strats instead. Still a little bit scary. That's 3 hearts of damage that he just took. I believe. Okay, he has a blue potion. Thank goodness. But opting to do. Okay, it looks like he's gonna go back to the Master Sword. Vitreous's animation is kind of weird, to be honest. So hitting him with the hammer could be a little bit tricky, a little bit stressful too if you are really low on HP. Smight entering the gauntlet of Ganon's tower. Pretty infamous for just having a lot of really weird enemy movement. See how quickly he gets through that, but with silver arrows and fire rod, it should be pretty fast.
Down goes Vitreous, and Smite's tearing his way through this gauntlet. You see Smite using a couple of silver arrows. Some runners are a bit hesitant to use the silver arrows because of the lag they create with the trail of sparkles behind them, but silver arrows take out enemies like no one's business when they hit.
Yeah, sometimes the lag is just, it's more beneficial because some of these enemies can take really weird movement patterns around the room, just causing you to lose even more time. Entering Lambos, misses both of those. Kind of a weird pattern on both of them, but should be able to get that second cycle Lambos with the silver arrows right now. DarkReplica stocking up on one of those blue potions before he heads up to Turok. Gonna find his bow pretty soon. You know, I have to wonder if he finds the bow, would it make more sense to save and quit and go to Eastern at that point, and then do Turtle Rock later when you can just go straight from Turtle Rock to Ganon's Tower? Because he'll be in go mode, so he knows that he doesn't need any more items. I'm not sure if that's more efficient routing or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to run some trials.
Or if anyone in chat knows, feel free to educate us.
My instinct would be to finish the dungeon you're in, but I mean, if you watch me play, you'll tell that my instinct really doesn't count for much.
Smight skipping the big potion pickup, or big magic fill up right there. Getting over to the ladder quick enough to avoid the Ganon's Tower despawn, which is pretty nice.
We see Smight picking up that guaranteed key. Red mail, that's not a bad thing to find right before Ganon.
Surprised he actually didn't pick up the other one, just to see if maybe there's a temper sword in there. Still would cut down the amount of time needed to do those first couple phases of Ganon. Alright, we've got the map for Ganon's Tower, so now we can know exactly, you know, where to go, where to find the boss, you know, in the very last 2 rooms of Ganon's Tower itself, so this might give us that,
It's a shame this isn't Key Sanity. If we found the map, we'd know whether Ganon's Tower is a crystal or a pendant.
I like this red tunic though on the ball and chain, just like shining armor. Makes me reminds me of Super Ghouls and Ghosts, to be honest.
Smight does check that chest after Moldorm 2, does not find, probably the Tempered Sword is what Smite's looking for.
Yeah, not too much of a deal though. You got Master Sword, you got Silver Arrows, which is the biggest thing, to be honest. And I know he's fully confident in doing Master Sword Ganon too. DarkReplica heading over to Ether Tablet and then presumably over to Turtle Rock right afterwards. So he'll be in Go mode very shortly, but does still have to complete both Turtle Rock and Eastern Palace. Oh baby, just missed the triple there. He had the positioning correct, but Agonim's like, yo, I'm out. Peace. And goes to a different part of the room.
So, Smight is on the way to Ganon. We're going to see a fight with red mail, silver arrows, half magic, even with the Master Sword. Smight probably feels pretty confident about this.
Right. I'd rather have all those items you said, rather than just Temper Sword, by itself, for this fight. Having that half magic, like I said, with the cape just makes things so much easier for doing those slashes. Silver arrows cuts down the amount of time for the final phase of Ganon. Learning a little bit about land slugs from Ganon too, so thank you for that hot knowledge, Ganon. Oh, he's getting some really good placement for Ganon right now. Getting those double spins off. If he goes into phase 2 right now, he may... Okay, he's gonna pull out the cape. Yeah, you want to pull out the cape right here because you can just get those spins out without this fire bats interrupting you. Oh,
And that's the best place.
Placement.
It's not exactly capitalizing on it right now, but it's difficult to get in there sometimes with those fire bats.
Oh, I think he may have miscounted the amount of spins he had because he didn't go into the corner there to get these spins. Oh, is he?
Uh-oh.
Oh, he has a red potion. Is he gonna get it? Smight just giving us a very tense run by throwing out these potions at the very last second.
Smight on to phase 3, needs to put, at this point, 3 more spins into Ganon, if Ganon will ever stop warping.
Yeah, at this point, the hardest part of the fight is done. Only takes, like I said, the 4 spins here, which he just got. Probably not going to do the torch glitch to set up, a better silver arrows for Ganon. Or he is, actually.
No, misses the torch glitch, but won't be a problem. Might get a double here. Ooh, just misses.
It. See if he gets this in time. Okay, so he has 1 more arrow. Is he gonna get it? I think we will. I have a lot of confidence that Smight will get this last arrow, and he does. Clinching out this race. On our right, Smight is our winner with a time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and a certain amount of seconds. 40 seconds? 41 seconds? 42? 43? I think it was 40 seconds. He just forgot to hit his timer.
I think we'll get the official time from speedracing.tv somehow. I'm not sure.
Right. But
get your GGs in chat for Smight. This has been a great race.
Congrats to Smight for getting this win. Definitely, like I said, early race. Couldn't really tell who was ahead with DarkReplica getting that early hook shot, but just the execution on Smite's side as well as smart routing, got him to, pull through in the end. Gonna go into the next round with that nice 1-0 record too. Alright, so I believe we'll probably be getting in Smight here pretty shortly for an interview. In the meantime, DarkReplica going through Turtle Rock right now did pick up the bow, so he is also in go mode. He should be able to skip a few chests in Turtle Rock 2. May opt to skip the boots if he finds the key a little bit early. But we'll see what he's going to do pretty soon. Does have Eastern Palace still left to go. He has to be a little bit careful though. He doesn't have his... Oh, he does have blue potions. Never mind. Doesn't have his fairy anymore though. All right,
We've got
Smight did finish.
Yeah.
144.40. DarkReplica looks like I think he may have just seen Smight finish as well. Let me pull up speed racing and see what is going on actually. Oh, he's still going. I don't think DarkReplica will actually go into Mimic Cave since he's in Go mode now, but he may end up doing so just to go ahead and find possibly that Tempered Sword. Especially if you don't feel a little bit confident in your Master Sword Ganon. You could spend a little bit
Oh
more
no.
time. Takes a death. I don't think he has that fairy. No!
Oh.
He has plenty of potions, but unfortunately does not have the fairy. For that
Hang in there, DarkReplica. You can do it.
yeah, really rough seed, you know, not having Master Sword, or sorry, not having like a Tempered Sword. He does have a lot of Hard Snake, but like no powder for those anti-fairies to quick that quick refill. But I have confidence he'll be able to finish this. Alright, so he's heading back to his normal spot. And the legal drugs sleeps again. Interesting name for a mushroom. But what can you say? I didn't make this. I'm not the one who put that text in.
DarkReplica letting muscle memory get to him, heading down the wrong pipe and turning around.
Yeah, it could be pretty easy to forget, like, oh wait, I've done all this. I should just go ahead and head over to the exit. Getting that quick double fire rod right there. Looks like he's gonna go... Okay, yeah, he's realizing, wait, I'm in go mode. I can just go to the end. No boots here, so I have to use the bombs to get through this part. Oh,
Does not
got
have
a
a key.
small key that he missed in the big chest. I did not actually see that on Smite's side because he was having to do that full clear. So he'll have to go out and grab that and then come back in. That's something you don't see very often. Smight heading, or sorry, DarkReplica heading out. Gonna skip Mimic Cave, of course. Yeah, the worst thing that could be on pedestal, definitely anything that you need for Dark World access could be pretty bad, but those kind of things are kind of obvious because normally you have all the Light World dungeons being pendant dungeons, like you would in the vanilla version. So those it's not too hard to see, but it just takes a lot of extra time to have to clear out those dungeons instead. Don't know if we're getting Smight in here for an interview. He should have a channel in. It is always up to the runner whether or not they would like to talk about their run. DarkReplica getting his key. He's gonna skip the boots, which at this point isn't too big of a thing. And then he's gonna go straight over to Trinex, and then over to Eastern Palace afterwards, and we'll see him going up to Ganon's Tower shortly. DarkReplica heading into his Trinex fight. See if he also opts to do these this hammer strats.
It looks like we've got Smight in the... Oh, it looks like we've got Smight here.
Oh,
Welcome, Smight.
Welcome, Smight. Congrats.
thanks. That wasn't too bad.
Hold on, you're a little quiet.
How's that?
That's better. But yeah, congrats on getting that win.
I was a bit concerned about the mushroom the whole time.
Yeah. What were you thinking that the mushroom was going to lead to?
I was missing a lot of stuff. It could have been anything. Quake would have been the really mean one. Last thing I found.
Yeah, we were kind of speculating that too. Like, obviously we knew that it couldn't be Bow, which was pretty much the last item that both of you needed for Go mode. But that Quake was definitely a big, maybe. So we're kind of glad it didn't come down to that. So pretty good race between both of you. It was kind of hard to tell who's ahead because DarkReplica actually found the hook shot very early on. He ended up going to Darkness Mountain right after finding everything in the Paradox Cave. Whereas you found the flute very early. He didn't do Skullwoods till later on in the seed, so it was a lot of divergence between the two of you, but like I said, we know that your execution is really solid in this game, as well as your routing choices were really smart too, so that really propelled you ahead, kind of in the second half of the seed itself.
I hate going up that mountain without the hook shot. I was about to though because I was ready to do Total Rock. I wanted to see if I could. On my way down, I realized I could once I did the Spike Cave.
Yeah, we were like, okay, we weren't sure if he's gonna go to Spike Cave or not, since we already knew that at that point it had Ether. So when we saw you heading over there, I was kind of like, okay, this is there's a pretty defined lead on your side. DarkReplica is finishing his Trinex fight, can go over to Eastern Palace and finish that, get his last crystal.
There was stuff all over the place. I was trying to collect it all at once, but it's just one of those things where I had the gloves and I did not have like the book, and then I had to go around and get the tablets. So there was always a bunch of stuff I kept forgetting about checking. I never did the pyramid. I just waited till I had the bomb. I felt like something was probably there.
Yeah, we also thought too that the bow was there. Like, bow was the one item that was missing for a long time. We thought, maybe it's gonna be in Mire. There's a possibility of Turtle Rock once we found Quake in Swamp Palace. typical V29, you know, locking that one item until the end, making you. Fortunately, you didn't have to search all over the place with it. We thought maybe with the boots that showing up in Turok that, you know, there could be an item in Desert Palace if you guys weren't going to be in go mode already.
Yeah, I got one of the items out of there, and I saw that I needed the boots for the rest. I almost almost died on Ganon because I was getting a little reckless there with my gold arm. I was excited to find. Not as good as a sword, but it was nice looking at least.
Yeah, we got a little worried too because both of you guys have been using your fairies throughout the run too. So when we saw you on Ganon with like a heart and a half, I'm like, okay, I really hope that you have that potion. Master Sword Ganon, definitely not too hard of a fight for you, especially with the half magic and cape. I'm sure you felt pretty good about going to the fight with that and Silvers too.
When he's leaning up against the wall like that and I can skip an entire phase, I like it. I was just taking advantage of those doubles.
Yeah, the double, you know, Master Sword spins, really nice. Instead of having to just wait for him to, you know, let go of the fire bats to go in for just one spin at a time. So you'll be going into the next round with you know, 1-0. Is there anyone in particular that you just do not want to see in the next round?
There's a lot of people that beat me almost every time, like problems IRL. But I wouldn't be afraid to try. But I mean, I don't have a good track record. He seems to do the same kind of stuff I do for routing, but he does it better. So I end up losing every single time.
Well, there is quite a large pool of people that will also be 1-0 too. So I think your chances of getting problems IRL are pretty slim. But
1 in 256 or something like that.
Pretty good odds you'll get someone else.
DarkReplica finishes up his Armos Knights fight. We're going to see DarkReplica head up to Ganon's tower now. We're going to have to see if DarkReplica does the same thing you did, Smight, and take the right side, where the key was.
I was
that was
happy
a
about
good
that.
call.
Meyer went pretty fast too, though. Both of those dungeons were nice. After, I didn't have to do any pod. I was actually happy to see that it was bow locked.
Yeah, it's nice finding out that pendant pod is bow locked, so you're not having to dedicate time to what could just be a huge time sink. DarkReplica, yeah, fill up on those potions again. Given how much money was available in the seed, not surprised. Just blow all your money on those potions. Make sure you're not going to have any issues. He's actually only 2 hearts shy of being at max HP as well. He'll probably pick up the red tunic too, if he's looking for tempered a little bit as well. So he'll be exceedingly healthy going into these final fights.
Wonder what the other sword is.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So also we know the Lumberjack Cave has 1 sword upgrade, but you know, we have Desert Palace, we have Pod.
Smite, we noticed that upstairs in Ganon's tower, you only checked one of the 2 chests in the Helmasaur room. You got the red mail, and then you headed off to the left. Maybe it's in there.
Yeah, I wasn't really gonna open them, and then I felt like, they might actually be the sword, so I just grabbed one on the way. I was missing not very much at that point. Like powder and a sword would have been all I would have cared about, really.
Right. I mean, at one point, you just kind of dedicate yourself to doing Master Sword Ganon, and it's like, you know, I'm not going to bother, you know, looking for any additional items. But just with the items you had, I mean, Master Sword Ganon was going to be super easy anyways.
Not having to do the last phase is nice and saves me some boredom, honestly. It's really long.
Yeah, taking
so
was it like 24 slashes or spins or so?
Yeah. I was fighting Vitreous, and I for some reason I was really worried about my arrow count, and I was thinking I'd have to climb Ganon's tower with none, so I just didn't shoot it. And then I remembered I was going to do Eastern Palace next, and I felt really dumb.
We thought about that too. We thought maybe you were gonna clear out just a couple of the eyes, but and then we saw you pull out the silver arrows the last second. Like, yeah, Eastern has like a million, arrows there for you.
You're right in
Dark
front of the
Replica
boss.
is going to the right side, so he will find his big key very fast.
Oh no!
Wallmaster. Fortunately, that does not deter him from going back to the right side. So he will not be having to go through that full left side just to find out there is nothing there. Those dang wall bricks. Just ruining our rando runs. So he does not have the boots here. He's gonna have to be a little bit fast with getting these torches. Because the game expects you to have boots at this point. Is he gonna get it? Okay, good. He got through in time. It does give him a little bit of trouble. Definitely, they can interfere a lot with trying to get that block over there for the switch. Nice part about having that fire rod there. Gets his big key as well. Actually, the same exact order. Gets that red potion.
And remembers to pick up the small key here.
Yeah, I'm glad nobody forgot about that.
While DarkReplica is on his way to the gauntlet, I'd like to remind everybody that both of these runners have put forth a tremendous effort today. They've given us a lot of close calls, a lot of excitement, so why don't you give these two guys a follow, take a look in chat, and we'll get links to their Twitch profiles. They'd really appreciate it.
And also, even though we're kind of getting to the end of this race, I'm sure most of you know, but we have a total of 256 matches every single week for the next 7 weeks. What that means is there's pretty much rando going on at all times. You can expect, a race to be starting, every hour during normal hours during the day as well. So definitely, after this race is done, check out any of the speed gaming channels, the ALTTP Randomizer channels too. Should be a race starting very soon. It's just super exciting to be able to have this many matches going on for the next couple weeks, or next 7 weeks. Also, shout outs to Flaffykins, doing the tracking for this run, keeping us honest with these items. Really thank her for her help on this. Greatly appreciated.
And while you're in a following mood, might I recommend throwing a follow over to my co-commentator JTB. As I mentioned earlier, this is my first time, so he's helped me out here. We've done a good job, so give some recognition to him for that.
And same to you too, Firewood King. It's definitely a little bit stressful going into your first commentary for a match. And you've done a really great job, so props on that. Hope to see you in more races in the future.
Thank you, I appreciate it. DarkReplica does not get to the ferry in time. Ugh.
It's hard to keep track of what bottles they have. They've all had so many of them. But he does have a net too, so he could possibly pick up a fairy at some point if he really just wants that safety net there for him. All right, so we see gauntlet number 2. Fortunately, he wasn't too far into the gauntlet, so he doesn't have to spend a whole bunch of time getting back to where he was at before. Doing the pole strats on the wall there to get the mimics in a favorable position to hit them. Getting tricked a little bit by the eye cores there. Could push you back into the switch. Just gotta remember to be able to hit that. All right, I'm glad he's gonna use this potion here. Just throw it out there. There's no reason to play it risky. You got your millions of potions. Just go ahead and throw them out.
Interestingly, if DarkReplica had the boots, he could bonk across that gap there and bomb the wall. There's 2 fairies in that room there.
Yeah, that's a really nice safety room. There's also a full magic if you really, for whatever reason, did not have a lot going into the gauntlet too. And using the fire rod in these rooms are really nice. The conveyor belts make it really difficult to hit these guys. And actually, DarkReplica's just going to throw out the bombos, so now I don't have to worry about chasing them around the room. With the Bimo statue there, constantly tracking them.
That bonk room with the fairies in it has a really interesting implication for the logic. A lot of new runners don't realize that bonking across gaps is intended by the logic, and the reason for that is that the developers of Link to the Past intended for you to get to that room by bonking, which is why bonking to the first chest in Hookshot Cave and bonking to get into Misery Mire are both considered in the logic.
Actually, I did not know that was... I mean, obviously I knew that you can get to that room with bonking, but I didn't know that was why the logic is okay with you bonking, in Mire as well as Hookshot Cave. So, hey, you learn something new every day.
There you go. Oh, and if you want to know another thing, if you want to use medallions to blast through the gauntlet, Ether is the one with the fastest animation.
I'll have to remember that too. Gauntlet can definitely give me the business on some days, so... I'm feeling a little bit unconfident. Maybe I'll just throw off the Ether.
I got some use out of bombos this time.
Yeah, the bombos really helped out in Ice Palace, not having Temper Sword like the Penguin rooms. It's cool to see. Strat that. That's like a strat I constantly forget about until I see someone else do it.
Didn't have the hook shot either, and I actually missed the big chest, and I felt really stupid until the boss gave me the last item. I thought I might have made a big mistake.
Yeah, that's always kind of scary when you just skip one item and you're like, okay, is it 50-50 on whether or not the boss has it? Or, say like it's Thieves Town and you don't have the hammer for the last chest and there's that final item there. It's like, do I just skip it, getting the small key from blind? Or do I just hope that, there isn't something there I need? DarkReplica getting a little bit low again, but should have another potion. Hopefully he'll blow it after this, so that way he has... Okay, good, so he has enough for the red key in the next room. Doesn't get the 3 of them, but does get 2 of them at a time. Oh, with that King of Smarty strat. Definitely one of my favorite strats to see in this game. It's super simple to do, but it looks so nice. And it's really fast, of course, too.
It took me a while to learn that room with the 4. With some strange movement. Pull that off.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta be correct with that that block placement. Otherwise, you just miss one of them completely, and you're just kind of like, oh.
DarkReplica takes a bit of a fall.
Don't think he saw that Okay, no, he's just grabbing the extra magic. Yeah, this room you have to be somewhat quick on because these torches will go out. And if you, don't have half magic and you're using that fire rod, you'll just run out of magic really fast.
DarkReplica having some difficulty with the hitbox of the lamp flame. This is a good full magic pickup to know about.
Yeah, definitely. For the next room too, needing the fire rod also guarantees that you're not gonna despawn Ganon's tower by accident, which can happen if you enter the ladder at the same time that one of the torches goes out. Okay, so we don't have Timber Sword, but he does skip the key. I don't know if he realizes that he needs to go back and kill one of those Helmasaurs.
Yeah, let's hope that he remembers to go back and doesn't mirror back to the bottom.
Oh, please don't mirror back. He's gonna walk up to it and be like, wait.
Oh.
No, don't mirror. Don't mirror.
Okay, I think we're good.
I swear, there's been so many of those moments throughout this race where it's just like, please don't let that happen. Alright, picks up that key. He's going to be heading into Moldorm 2, Agnum 2, and then lastly, we'll see that Ganon fight pretty shortly.
DarkReplica takes a bit of a fall. Opts to go with the hammer, it seems, rather than Master Sword spins. And that one he just walked in. That's fine.
Yeah. Moldorm could be, well, I mean, there's a reason why it's called Trolldorm. If he takes a pretty unfavorable pattern, then it's kind of hard to recover. You can position yourself so that way, if you have the sword out, you don't get knocked out. He didn't have it right there, unfortunately, but if say like, for the first Moldorm fight, we would just have the hammer, it could be a little bit tricky because one hit will just send you flying off the ledge. Alright, we got take number 3. Third time's a charm, as people say. We'll see if Moldorm, cares about these kind of things, though, and if he lets DarkReplica get those hammer hits in. Alright, we got 2. We got C3. We got C3. Oh, barely misses it. There we go. Got getting those slashes in on Moldorm despite already being dead. You can tell he's a little bit tilted, probably, from him. And now he knows that we're doing Master Sword Ganon, which, like I said, shouldn't be too hard, given that we both have the same exact items. He's got the cape, half magic, silver arrows. This room's a little bit tricky without boots because of all the Helmasaurs that are just going to push you around the ice.
Yeah. A lot of runners will pull out the cane or the cape here.
Does get through it though, so the mini Helmasaurs just ran straight past him.
Oh, I just realized I never found the boots. Oh no.
Yeah, so he went into Turtle Cabin Quake with the play him in go mode. So as soon as he found that small key, he decided to just go through Trinex. I didn't think it would hurt you too much because even though it opened like bonk rocks and consume, I figured those are really fast checks, and then you just go right over to Swamp Palace after that. So it was actually pretty beneficial for yourself.
It feels good to have boots.
Yeah, boots of seeds they're not fun to walk through. Even if you get boots, at the very end, at least you were able to find them.
Yeah, Smight, before you found the boots, we were a little worried that Ganon's Tower Big Key was going to show up on the torch.
I was almost done with it. I mean, I I just had Palace of Darkness left. Really, I would have not been too upset. I guess. It's not like I had 100 chests to go look at or something.
Yeah. Alright,
It was-
Dark going into his Ganon fight too with the Master Sword.
The swamp and desert and Palace of Darkness would have been where I would have been looking for those if I didn't have them.
Oh yeah, because you did skip the left side of Swamp. I don't think he's gonna get pushed into the next phase. Alright. Does get a pretty good position if he pushes him into phase 2 here. Doesn't look like he's gonna get it. Oh, if he gets it right here, I think he should be okay. So definitely the best position for Ganon, being able to do those spins without moving at all. Hopefully he pulls out the cape here. Yeah. Got that half magic, just might as well use that with the blue potion that I believe he still has. But this should be pushing him over to phase 3, I believe. Or not. Okay, wow. I could have sworn that he had enough there. Just gets one spin there. Yeah, that's enough to push him over. Oh, just barely misses the hitbox for Ganon. Gotta be careful though. I don't know if he has another potion. I believe he bought a whole bunch of them, but I didn't see how many he used throughout Ganon's tower. And I know he picked up the red potion too. So I believe he's fine, but he has to worry a little bit about his
I think he used one red potion in Ganon's tower. I don't know, and yeah, I don't know how many he has left. There we go.
Oh, well, if he only has a red potion, he's gonna have to bank on
The torch glitch.
yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no. Does he have a blue?
Oh,
my goodness.
thank goodness.
These potions just keeping us on edge every single time. Alright, he's just gonna wait for him to move and get the double. Don't forget that you have silvers. Okay, good. Alright, we got one arrow. We got one arrow. Do I see two? We could see two, maybe in a... Okay.
Yeah, we got
two
a
arrows now.
total of 2 in him now.
We got 3 arrows. So just one more to finish off this fight. As long as he doesn't get knocked off, then he should be okay. Ooh, that was actually a little close.
Oh, come on, Ganon. Let him have it.
Just give him the W now. Don't be salty. Okay, there we go. This should be perfect. Alright. And with that, 4th arrow landing, DarkReplica finishes his Ganon fight, and will be also finished with the seed. GG. Go ahead and throw in some GGs in chat.
Big congratulations to DarkReplica for sticking through with that. He showed great tenacity.
Yeah, especially with, a few of the deaths that he had, probably seeing the dot done in Turtle Rock 2, pushing through it. It could be a little bit hard to go, so to keep going. So I'm glad that he continued and finished off the seed. Congrats to him. Time for another one. Okay, let's go. Someone get a seed together. We'll do another race. All right, so now we just gotta wait for DarkReplica to come in, if he does, for the interview. But definitely huge props to anyone who is being restreamed on these channels. It takes a lot to put yourself in front of a large audience to do these races, and it could be a little bit stressful putting on that kind of performance. So we have a huge appreciation for anyone who volunteers to be on these streams. Provides us entertainment, and we are thankful for that.
Absolutely. It takes a bit of courage to get out here, so give some recognition to our runners. We toss their Twitch profiles in chat again. Give them a follow. They'll really appreciate it. And while we're at
All right, so at this point, yeah, we are just waiting on DarkReplica to see if he comes in for an interview. He may opt not to. It is entirely their choice if they like to, but we definitely like to hear the thoughts. What were they thinking throughout the race? What did they enjoy about it? What do they wish was different? So give us just a hot minute. We'll see if get him in here. As we wait, we can see on the right the collection rate for Smight 148, 216. Pretty good for just how many dips into pendant dungeons we had to do, and just the items kind of being in weird locations. We'll see what DarkReplica gets pretty soon, but I imagine it'll probably be around that same exact range, given both runners took pretty similar routes, just in different orders. There's only a couple locations that we haven't seen, primarily like Desert Palace and Pod, which obviously we would never see Pod at this point. But we'll see pretty shortly what he had.
It looks like we've got DarkReplica in Twitch chat. Send him some GGs.
All right, so we are going to pull DarkReplica in here. Let me get him that Discord link. And then we'll be off to the races. So while we're waiting, so like I said, definitely, follow all the speed game channels, as well as ALTTP Randomizer. We have 512 entrants in this race, meaning 256 matches per week. Obviously, not all of them are being streamed, but a good amount of them are. We're seeing 12 plus hours of stream randomizer races every single day. If you don't want to follow this, there's just too many channels to follow. You always follow, Link to the Past on Twitch, and you can see these channels come up in there as well. Generally, a lot of people are watching them, and add those to your follow list. Lots of good matches to come this week. Everyone was paired up, randomly with each other, but starting next week, we'll see all the people that are 1-0 racing against each other, as well as 0-1. It is a Swiss format, so we'll constantly be seeing, evenly matched people.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello, DarkReplica. Welcome.
Thank you.
Congrats on finishing that seed up. What is seed, right?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if the seed was that bad. It's just I made quite some bad decisions, I think. Yeah, this one play didn't pay off at all.
Finding that hook shot at that point was a really solid decision, and actually that was kind of where both of you diverged a lot. It was really hard to tell, who was going to win the race about, until like halfway through maybe, because both of you took like completely different routes, but we're kind of going in the same locations, just in different orders.
Yeah, it's. I actually already expected that. I decided to put off the eastern area for a long time. I kind of was hoping to find the bow anywhere, because I already found the mirror, and then I could just do eastern and maybe dive pod if it was necessary. But well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, pod actually ended up being bow locked, so you would have definitely not had to put a lot of time into that. Kind of rough with just the bow location being so late in the seed. Plus, you usually want to be able to do that Eastern Palace early and just save Turtle Rock to the end and go straight to Ganon's Tower. But I'm glad that you didn't have to like go too far out of your way to find, the bow over in Turtle Rock and just pretty much go mode the rest of the seed itself.
Yeah, that was nice. I did do a lot of overworld, and it didn't pay off too, but I was, at a certain moment, I was kind of expecting it, but I still wanted to do it. What was the go mode for Smight? Where did he get his go mode?
It was Quake. So he went to Swamp later than you did, but he went to Turtle Rock earlier because he managed to find the flute over in Skullwoods, and I found that Kena Samaria over in Checkmore Cave pretty early on.
Oh, okay. I completely forgot that Quake was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of found it in the back of there, and then I'm sure it really wasn't too big of a concern at the time because you still needed flute to find the King of Samaria there. But yeah, that was his go mode item. Both of you guys did dungeons in kind of like different orders, so like I said, it was really difficult to see like who was exactly ahead until your routes begin to converge a little bit. But still, it was a really great race. There was a lot of really hyped moments. You finding the hook shot and then Ether right after that. As Smight getting the flute over in Skullwoods and having a lot of different areas to access. This is what Randomizer is about, like seeing just these different routes and how each runner approaches it, and it was a really exciting race to watch. So I really thank the two of you for putting this on for us.
Absolutely, this has been great fun to watch. GG DarkReplica on sticking through it to the end there.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed. And GG's to Smight, and thanks for the commentary.
Good game.
All right, so I think that just about wraps it up. Anyone have any just closing thoughts before we go ahead and finish this off?
Just use your potions when you have them.
we were like, okay, does he have a fairy or not? Because fairies just kept coming up for both of you. Both of you guys used your fairies in the bottles at some point, so we kept forgetting, like, okay, which person used the fairy? Are they gonna die or they get revived? So that definitely kept us on edge there.
I hate it when in the gauntlet I saw that fairy and I went for it, and then I hit the spike and I forgot to use my potion.
Yeah. And we got a little bit worried too when you got to the top, forgetting the small key from the Helmosaur. We were like, okay, please do not mirror back to the start. So I'm glad you remembered that afterwards. Well, with that, so like I said, follow both the runners, Smight and DarkReplica. You'll be seeing plenty of Randomizer from them in the next couple months. Thank you, like I said, to Flappykins for doing the tracking for us throughout this race. Did a really excellent job, so thanks to her for that. And once again, thanks to Firewood King for doing this co-commentary with me.
It's been great. Thanks for being with me, JTB.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. So with that, hope you all enjoyed this race. Like I said, plenty of rando going on right now, so you probably want to check out one of the other speed racing channels. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your week.
Thanks for commentating.
Yo, thanks a lot. GG, Smight.
Good game.
Good luck in your next round.
Thank you. You too.